In last 3 decades, I've done many shows where I have interviewed co-founders, co-executives, father and son. But for the first time, and I can guarantee you that, we've got, well, a Jija and a Sala. No two entrepreneurs, no two friends. Well, let's talk about it. So let me introduce my guest, Neetish and Shikhar. हाँ जी, कैसे मिले पहली बार?
आपने बोल ही दिया जीजा साला circumstances ने मिला दिया. But
Arranged marriage or friends which have now become relatives?
I think पहली बार तो my sister and me, it was like a typical arranged marriage set up in a hotel at a coffee shop that I had gone with her, me, my wife and my sister. We saw Neetish for the first time and we had gone to meet for coffee. But then at the end of it, my wife had to drag me away because I was enjoying the conversation so much. And my sister wasn't getting a chance to talk to him.
I have a very funny story for this. So I was waiting for my wife Riya to come. We were meeting in Delhi in a hotel, and I didn't know Shikhar Bhaiya was going to be coming with her. And I was waiting at a coffee shop. Here I see, instead of my wife, Shikhar Bhaiya entering. Sat down. I still remember the first 20-25 minutes. I think we spoke a line between me and my wife. And Shikhar Bhai knew everything about who I am, where have I studied, what have I done, about my company. He probably knew most of the financials, at least as much as I knew.
AI use करा था, ChatGPT.
Within the first 15-20 minutes, he knew it all. So I think, wahi se we started becoming very comfortable with each other since then.
So how would you define your current relationship? I mean, are you friends? Are you relatives? Or are you two entrepreneurs?
I think we're all. I think the good part is that we're a mix of everything that you've already called out. We're relatives, obviously, because of the relation that we have, but we are friends because same age, we're in the same cycle in our life where we're doing the same thing together, and we are two entrepreneurs. We discuss so much about business with each other. So I think we would say it's a mix of all three.
The difference, we've spoken about similarities, but there's a big difference. Shikhar, you've decided to take a family legacy forward. Neetish, you've decided to really forge and incubate a completely new business. So while you have a family legacy, you've decided to forge a new business. That's one differentiation between you both in terms of approach and both in terms of temperament. You would agree?
I think, definitely, I think there are similarities, but there are differences. When I got an opportunity to join the family business and see what's happening, it was not a question about whether I should do it or not. For me personally, the question was how far I can take it. That was the first instinct that came to my mind. So definitely, I think I come from a joint family. We were in different businesses, and my father, who's the chairman of the company, started the business in 2005-06. And I was studying. And I joined the company in 14. And the question was whether I should join or not join or do a startup on my own, or how far I can take what has been created already. So that was the dilemma in my mind. And I chose the latter.
Your story. What decided you not to really align with the family business?
No, so I just, I came back from Singapore after studying, and I wanted, at that point of time, I was briefly working with my father, but then realized that I had this kida, if I can call it that, of doing something on my own. I wanted to start this just out of that passion of trying to do something of my own, at least. While obviously I had briefly worked with my father, and being in a Marwadi family, you're always exposed to a parent's business. But this was something that I gave myself. I said 2-3 years, I'll give it all. Let me try something on my own. And it was something that was in my head. I wanted to get it out. Fortunately, we got into a situation where we were able to scale it up, and today where we are, we've reached where we are. But it just came out of the passion of trying to do something on my own. You're at a young age. I was 25. I honestly wanted to see how do you really grow a company. While we had an established business with my father, I wanted to see how does it feel to really do things that he's done. He had grown a company. He was a first generation entrepreneur where he had grown his company and manufacturing units to the stage it had already grown. And I had this thing inside me to go through that same journey. So that is what really pushed me to do it initially. And I'm glad, we took that approach, because I think the last 6-7 years been fantastic learning wise, and I'm very happy that my parents are also very, very supportive to, let me at least do that in the initial days.
You both are in your 30s. There is 40s, there is 50s, and there is 60s. Where do you see yourself in your 40s and 50s?
I mean, I think 20s was more of learning. I would say late 20s, the real implementation started. I would say I'm still in my life journey at the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that I've learned, in the last few years, I've implemented, but there's so much more. So I think in 40s, my vision is to be aligned with the vision of my company as well, to see BLS, as the leader, India's largest global service delivery onshore company, the largest and first company from India. And then once I achieve that in 40s, then I also want to explore how you can create value at a global level, get into parallel services. There is so much more to be done in markets like Europe, America, etc. And, developing countries like Latin America, Africa, where the real money will start coming in, services demand will start coming in the next 5-7 years. I really want to be there.
Where do you see SmartWorks would be 10 years from now? India's biggest co-working, Asia's biggest co-working, or perhaps why not take a shot, world's biggest? Why not?
We've already gone international, so we're present in Singapore, so we've scaled out of India at least. But I think India has tremendous potential. We're talking about a country that has 1 billion square foot of office space, and it took 70 years to get to that 1 billion square foot of office space today. The next billion is going to get added in the next 10 to 15 years. That's what it is projected to grow at. I think the opportunity of creating a product like ours in a market which is high growth in India is fantastic. So I would really, my dream, and I think 10 years is something that obviously is where the consolidation will happen, but I think I could talk about 5 to 6 years is to become India's largest rent collector. If you look at the journey, there have been multiple landlords, multiple developers who've taken generations to get to a certain scale. We have grown to almost 14 million square foot of space in less than 8 years. I think the opportunity that India's market is giving us is to double that growth in the next 4 to 5 years. And that's what we're targeting. At that scale, we will probably, if not the highest, one of the highest rent collectors in the country.
What is the one thing you really admire about BLS?
I think it's the massive opportunity of growing a business across the world. It's not a small achievement. Opening up offices within 35 to 40 days in countries, it's easier to do it in Delhi, Bombay, London, New York, but opening it up in remote cities or opening up I remember Bhaiya talking about opening up in DRC very recently. Just having that passion of taking an Indian business global, I think it's a phenomena, right? There are only a couple of businesses that have been able to do that successfully, where a company running from India, heart of the founders, the members are Indians who are scaling their businesses in a very meaningful manner across the world. I think that's a thing that I admire a lot.
What is your in general conversation about SmartWorks, where Neetish and his team could scale up? You think they are expanding too fast, too slow, or they are maintaining a right speed?
I think, to me personally, what amazes me is, since the time I've known Neetish, every year I've visited his different headquarters because they outgrow the headquarters that they are sitting in. So I think the simple sheer scale of execution, how fast they're acquiring buildings, converting them, and the turnaround time, how fast they get new tenants, etc., is amazing to me. The business development team, the execution, etc. I think what they're doing is probably quite right. They are, whatever business they are taking, they're executing it well. The customers are happy. What market feedback I get, people want to sit with them across India. So I don't think I can give him a better advice than what they're already doing.
Is it tough managing a public company when you are in your 30s? That anybody can pick up this question. I'm throwing it up. Managing a public listed company when you are in your 30s, is that a different experience?
I think when you are in your 30s, definitely, personally, you have more risk-taking appetite. But when you're listed, you also have to think maturely. You also have to think, you have to have a balance between risk and reward. So you have to make sure the decisions that you're taking for the company, wherein you are thinking at least 10 years ahead, if you're in your 30s, you have to still think, maturely and take those decisions. So, I mean, definitely there are challenges. At the same time, there are a lot of good things also. If you want to grow your company, you have a lot of things available. Capital is available. If you want to acquire or grow the company, there's a new contract for us. If you want to deploy offices across the world, definitely, So there are a mix of things, when you're listed.
What's your experience? You've just gone public. And when you gone public, you are in a business which looks very nice because it's large, but it's very competitive. How are you dealing with going public? Private hai, chalo, farak nahi padta. Public mein every quarter, QSQT, quarter se quarter tak.
A lot of
Q1Q.
No, that's what life has become. But obviously, we're very nascent in this. But I think what has changed in the last 2 quarters for us is the fact that earlier we were working, keeping in mind that we're growing our own company. Now there is a fiduciary requirement of the investors who have invested money in you to grow their money as well. I think the opportunity, the risk-taking appetite that we would have at our 30s, we've always challenged ourselves by why not do something bigger. Here at SmartWorks, we believe, and personally I believe, if you really want to scale up a business, you need to keep challenging yourselves with new targets that you set for yourself. What we've seen so far in the public markets are that people appreciate that if you're very transparent, if you make sure that your governance is proper, if you're transparently informing the world, the people who are investing in you and what your vision is, I think they reward you that way as well. I'm sure we'll learn a lot more in our journey, but I think in the first 2 quarters at least, we're very humbled to have investors who have supported us. People have called us after the IPO appreciating some of the first 2 quarters, how we've delivered it. And, hopefully we're able to keep breaching their expectations and making sure that the business keeps scaling. And that sense of responsibility has come up more in the last 2 quarters compared to when we were private.
I'm on the other side of 40. You guys are on the right side of 30. I'm certainly feeling very old here. So it should be Nikunj Bhaiya, not Shikhar Bhaiya. The rules are the same, which is integrity, honesty, identifying the market opportunity, and then perhaps creating a product or identify a problem where you can leverage and scale it up. The high growth industries, let's say 1990s were IT services, before that was textile, and now it's probably, I would say, customer dominated or customer experience companies. My question to you is that we are talking too much serious stuff, right?
Yeah.
Ab andar ki baat karte hain. What is it one thing you don't like about Shikhar Bhaiya?
Actually, the one thing that I like and don't like about him is the same thing. His ability to change everything and create humor in everything, right? He has this very good knack of any conversation that you're having. He can immediately introduce some sort of humor in that conversation and make that entire situation light. Works very well when you're in a situation which is more tensed, but sometimes when you want to be in a tense situation and a serious situation, he has this ability of changing it with humor. Works very well. But I think it's something that I both like and hate. It depends on the situation.
I'll keep that in mind next time.
भाई लोग कहते हैं सारी खुदाई एक तरफ, झुरू का बाई एक तरफ. अब मैं चुप हो जाऊंगा.
मैं मानता हूँ उसको, जो बोलता है ठीक बोलता है. But I think mainly क्या different रहा है is that we've developed this relationship between us where we're not just brother-in-laws anymore. Like obviously जोरू का भाई तो है, but जो रिलेशनशिप हमने कंफर्ट बिल्ड कर दिया एक दूसरे के साथ, वी कैन टॉक अबाउट एनीथिंग. आवर कन्वर्सेशन स्टार्ट फ्रॉम स्पोर्ट्स टू व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इन द वर्ल्ड, वेयर आर वी ट्रैवलिंग, व्हिच इज द बेस्ट places to go to, what are some of the things that we both want to do, and coincidentally we're both in that part of our lives where we're going through the similar things. He's had a daughter who's 2 years old. I've just had a son who's 6 months old. So a lot of experience, which is very, very fresh in our heads, we can share with each other, right? And I think our lives have also been gone through a similar journey. Both of us never met in school. We were in the same school throughout. We've never met each other. He was 2 years senior to me in school, and we've never met.
Honestly.
स्कूल नहीं जाते थे?
नहीं, स्कूल में मिले नहीं कभी.
जाते तो थे, एक दूसरे से नहीं मिले.
We were very serious. हम दोनों क्लास में बैठ के खाली पढ़ाई करते थे. तो बाहर जाइए तब तो मिलेंगे.
Let me stick to that. मैं भी क्लास में बैठ के सिर्फ पढ़ाई करता था. But I think we've just developed that relationship with each other, which is more than that Jija Sala. And I think the more I interact, the more I learn from him. It gives me a different perspective of what he's thinking. And I'm sure, that experience.
But to add to that, हम ये भी बात करते हैं competitors में कौन से fund invest कर रहे हैं. That is a serious angle.
तो शादी के बाद वीजा तो जल्दी मिल जाता होगा ना?
पहले जो 1-2 साल मिलता था, 5 साल तो मिलता है.
और साले साहब से क्या एडवांटेज मिला?
नहीं, I think
फिलोसफिकल आंसर मत दे.
नहीं, मैं सच्चा नहीं. Honestly, although Neetish is 2 years younger to me, but I'm really inspired looking at his journey. Creating something from scratch. And taking it to this level.
उनको तो वीजा मिल गया ना. आपको बेनिफिट क्या हुआ?
Benefit, I got someone who I can ideate with. Philosophical नहीं है, reality है. We are both in the same journey in life. He started working 10 years back. I started working 10 years, 11 years back. We have the same friend group. We have the same peers. We have the same social setting. We play pickleball together. So I mean, we are like also friends, relatives, and companions. And so I feel a lot of learnings that we share. And end of the day, you also want to, you enjoy life together. So
आलू की सब्जी किसको पसंद है?
इनको नहीं पसंद. नहीं, आलू की सब्जी तो क्या है, because हमारे घर में भी are vegetarian. So there is no other option.
And they live in a joint family. So अगर किसी को नहीं भी पसंद होगी तो हो जाएगी. Because if there are 20 people, one of them would like it. And I think that is also something that has been such a change for me. I have grown up in a family where we were a nuclear family. My sisters got married and went to their respective houses early. And in the last 6-7 years, I've stayed between cities, grew up in worked out of Bangalore, then came to Delhi, stayed alone. And then from there, getting married into this family where, there's a family of 20 people staying together.
Who's that one individual you've admired the most in terms of a leader, in terms of somebody you said, okay, I want to learn. Maybe I don't want to become like him, but I want to learn in terms of the inspiration, aspiration, life journey.
See, you get to admire people who you have seen closely. Obviously, you have read books about leaders across the world. You have seen movies. You have met people for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. They are your mentors. But I think definitely the people that you've worked closely with. And, it has to be my father. It is my father. I've seen him, his personality. Obviously, he was my hero figure while growing up. But I've seen him deliver what he has said, fight problems. So I've really, really inspired from his journey. I'm not saying I like everything that he does, but I think he's really.
What is it you think you don't like? That is the more important one.
No, I mean, every individual has a different way of thinking. But his personality traits is something I want to imbibe.
हम edit नहीं करेंगे.
Edit नहीं करेंगे. बिल्कुल. No, it has to be played out. I mean, everyone thinks differently. So definitely, I like a lot of things about him that I learn. I want to imbibe, but I also want to do things differently. My way.
How do you deal with failure? Ups and downs, bad days at work.
I think you just move on. I think there have been a lot of failures, especially when we're growing a company, whether you started on your own or you're trying to scale it up. There are going to be decisions that you make which don't really turn out the way you intended it to be, right? So for me, I think you just need to have that ability of saying that, all right, I tried this, didn't work out, and let's just move on and make sure that you start focusing on the next thing, right? If failure starts bogging you down, where it brings you down, you're not able to take that risk anymore, then it's a bigger failure for me. Doing failures is a part of growth, right? There are going to be certain decisions that you take which is not ideal, which is not turned out the way you wanted it to turn out. So I don't look at failure as a negative. I think not learning from the failure or being scared of failure is more negative than just failure.
I think मेरा उस पे honest एक तो ये रहेगा कि शुरू में I used to get really bogged down. कोई failure या when you're bidding for something you didn't win it या कोई आपको पता नहीं, you feel कि यार आपने तो best exam भरा था, आपने तो best try करा था, ये क्या गलत हो रहा है तुम्हारे साथ, you are the underdog, it's unfair and all. तो पहले तो I used to get really bogged down and think, but now what I've started to learn is to analyze कि मैंने क्या क्या steps करे, या what I did which I should not repeat. तो I think ये एक learning in my experience आई है, and I feel experience से ही पता लगता है आपको कि पहले मैं बहुत बॉग डाउन होता था. I used to feel negative कि यार हमारी टीम अच्छी नहीं है, मैं I should be learning more etc. But now I've understood कि failures will be 100 more in the future. But what you have to do is, what I don't want to be have a failure is कि the steps that I take, let's say if I'm going after opportunity, I want to make sure कि all the steps that I come to my mind, I want to take right now. I don't want to regret later, yeah, I should have done this more. And then if failure happens, then I'm fine with it. Then I will actually accept it. Do all the steps, what I've learned. So this is what I have. It's a new learning for me for the last 2-3 years, that failures, pehle I used to get really bogged down. Then I became better. Now I've learned that failure is a part of the game. It is part of the journey. And this is where your grit, your consistency really makes you, a big entrepreneur that can last long, is to take that failure. And in the future also it will happen, but to do things more right than wrong in the future.
So focus on the process,
Yeah.
not the outcome. Outcome is a function of a lot of things.
Correct.
As long as you can control the process, I think
Correct.
it's fine. Before I wrap, there's one question which purely is just coming from heart. And, in 20 years, I've interviewed really the length and the breadth of Indian entrepreneurs. I can see a different vibe now in India. People are now accepting failure. The entrepreneurs today are ready to think out of box, and then they're ready to take a risk. Why do you think suddenly, in last 10 years, entrepreneurship in India is humming? I can feel it. Some of us can smell it, but all of us can see it.
I think it's the risk-reward ratio. People in the public market talk about risk-reward ratio. The reward of having the opportunity is massive. If you're able to scale up something, get it right, despite of multiple failures, but the day you get it right, the opportunity is so massive in India right now that it's okay to be a little fearless. It's okay to go wrong a couple of times and then get up and try to achieve what you're trying to do. So I completely think it's the opportunity. It's the new age innovation which is so fast in India that allows you to be a little more fearless compared to probably what our parents could have been.
I totally agree with what Neetish is saying, but I also feel that, I fortunately, because of my business, I get a chance to travel across the world. We're in 70 countries. The ecosystem that has been created in the last 10 years in India, Indians are inherently smart. If you go globally, the top businessmen of each country, at least in top 3, one will be Indian. Now, if you see top parliamentarians, the top diplomats of each country, their locals will be Indians. So India में जो ecosystem आ गया है, if you see the people who are working in your companies, they have this basic understanding. India में the competition is so huge. You have to be smart to survive. So people were always smart, but last 10, 12 years, I feel the ecosystem, the capital availability, the risk-taking power, for companies to forgive you if you do a wrong mistake. So people have really the confidence level that has been generated. So I feel definitely that has really changed, and I feel the biggest consumer market in the world, growing market, is India. If you see the kind of planes being ordered, billions of dollars of planes being ordered by airline companies. If I talk about my industry, travel, the kind of travel growth that is expected, क्या होता है? पहले, more growth happens in his company, more people take offices, more income rises, their aspiration increases then. Then after that, so his customers will then become my customers. They want to travel abroad, they want to spend money. So I mean, India, if you see, foreign companies are fighting to come to India to get the market. And we as entrepreneurs from India can really benefit the entire ecosystem.
BLS बना स्मार्ट का कस्टमर अभी तक एक्सपैंड कर रहे हैं.
स्मार्ट वर्क्स बन गया BLS का कस्टमर, ये पक्का है.
चलिए हाई करते हैं. फ्रेंड्स, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स और जीजा साला.
All three.
तो मैं सवाल एकदम बताता नहीं हूँ, बिकॉज बताऊंगा तो फिर आप लोग एग्री कर जाओगे. अग्री भी कर जाओ तो कर जाओ, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. हाउ वेल द जीजा साला दे नो ईच अदर. आज इम्तिहान हो जाएगा. नीतीश का फेवरेट कलर बताओ.
Blue. He's right.
शिखर भैया का
would say black.
ये तो चीटिंग है. You know each other well. इंडिया क्यों लूज कर रहा है टेस्ट मैचेस?
Practice.
Experience.
फेवरेट हॉलीडे डेस्टिनेशन? शिखर भैया की क्या?
I would say, I think he really liked
Hmm.
DRC. Did you like DRC? But you didn't go for a holiday there. I think आपको सबसे ज़्यादा
नहीं पता है. कौन सी है फेवरेट?
Goa.
I would have been able to guess.
फेवरेट मिडनाइट स्नैक?
Pizza.
Pizza.
ये सबका ही कॉमन.
हाँ.
ये इजी गैस है. ये सब गैस राइट कर लेते.
ये पता हो सकता
ये
है.
सबको पता है. नहीं भी पता तो भी निकल जाएंगे इसके अंदर. फेवरेट मूवी?
Favorite movie? I don't know. अंदाज अपना.
Yeah, that is one of the
Anything which is
classics.
funny.
Yeah, funny
Classics.
comedy.
उनकी भाई आपकी नहीं.
No, I think for him also, I think he likes to keep it light.
Yeah.
So I think anything which is classic comedy is always good for him.
When there is a disagreement, whom do you call first?
Disagreement between
Husband and wife? होता ही नहीं है.
for
इनका होता ही नहीं है. Actually, no. He is very smart.
ये होने देते
स्मार्ट
नहीं
वर्क
है.
इसलिए स्मार्ट वर्क्स नाम है.
No, but if anything that I need to talk about generally and it can be anything, one of my first calls would be him.